All right, I've been doing final testing on this power supply. Uh, as you can see, it's all wired up underneath. Uh, I set it up so the keying jack, which is over here, uh, is a stereo plug like this. So in other words, just by wiring this plug, I can send a voltage to the relay in the transmitter to key, or I can rewire this plug so it'll ground the cathode if I modify the transmitter. As I'm going along, I read ahead, and this is probably one of the most messed up projects there is on the internet. You find a lot of people just passing information around that they've heard, not that they've experienced. There are a lot of people way back that did use these transmitters, but now it's just a matter of a few old timers a few years ago mentioned they want to fire theirs up, or they bought one and they never got to it. But I got it wired up, and I'm going to flip it up. I really should go into pause, huh? This thing is freaking heavy. It's small and it's heavy. It's annoying. Okay, let me turn my light off. Let me get my camera in position. I'll show you. I want to tell you something to show you something. Both at the same time. Hopefully the tripod. All right, both switches down. Okay. Now let's see if, I don't know if you can see if you can see them glowing. Those two regulator tubes. Pretty neat, huh? And when they're glowing, that's the point you set the voltage at. But they tell you to put the transmitter on this thing, power up the transmitter, and then adjust these two regulators. Okay? I want to tell you, this is the control that came really well boxed, padded and everything, but not in the box. The control had bounced around in the box, and this outer connection for the pot or the rheostat is not touching the wires. Okay, so I had to wire it up. The control works backwards. Let's just put it that way. And to replace it, it's like $38 plus shipping. And I'm saying, you know what? I'm only going to adjust that adjustment once. And then this other adjustment over here, that sets the screen voltage. And I got all my voltages. Everything's looking good. I still have to put a shunt on the meter. I have to add in that little power supply that sends DC voltage out if I wire this plug a certain way. But I want to tell you, I knew going into this project that I might not enjoy it. And I haven't enjoyed any moment of it. The price of the parts, ordering the wrong case. Okay, which all worked out. You know, it's all working out. The problem is the information about using the transmitter, a command radio transmitter, it's gobbledygook. Okay, one guy tells you one thing, another guy tells you another, and then basically you can go down the path of the consensus. In other words, you want to keep the oscillator on when you're keying the outputs. Now you can key the outputs using the relay in the command transmitter, but you're going to need a DC voltage for that. You may decide to wire the transmitter for 12 volts instead of 24. In my case, this transformer had enough windings that I could put in series. I got around that thing, but I'm trying to keep my transmitter original. Now, the only difference I might have to do is I might have to put a jumper across two contacts on the relay so the oscillator stays on. But I might not have to. I mean, it'll work, but the chirping noise, you know, that seems to be a big complaint about the command radio transmitter. And then other people, there's one guy complained that how everybody gutted them really bad, and it made them no longer desirable to collectibles as a collectible. And you know, puttering along here on this project, you know, like I said, it's to kill time. It's probably one of the worst projects you could ever work on. Just the fact that every time you go to look to buy a part, you really have to dig. The transformer is super hard to get, or you're going to pay $150. These regulator tubes are easy to get. The sockets are easy to get, but everything else, you know, even a meter movement, I had one. They're $15 and up, you know, and the chassis, you're talking $12, you know, and then you got to cut all those holes. You know, this thing's, if you've watched the videos, there's like 2 people still hanging in there looking at it. There's a lot of work that went into this, and I really don't have a real use for it. You know, I'll hook the transmitter up, see the transmitter work. That's about it. You know, as far as sitting there learning code now, I'm really tired. This, you gotta have some joy coming out of a project, okay? And there is none, okay? And a lot of it I'll blame on COVID. I'm stuck inside. The weather moved in, and it's really cold out there. It's single digits, okay? We went from 50-degree weather down into really cold weather. And those 50-degree days, they were gifts, okay? They were warm days when they shouldn't be warm. And now we're getting colder days than normal. You know, towards the end of January, in Lancaster area, it should start warming up. And it will. They're saying in about a week it's going to start warming up again. But, you know, hopefully I get this. But this got me really aggravated yesterday. I couldn't figure out why these tubes wouldn't glow. And then my meter, I put it in position to switch, but it didn't make contact, so I wasn't seeing any voltages. And then I said, let me get my other meter. I got my other meter, the voltages are there. But these tubes wouldn't glow. And that's because the one side is open, and that's the side I had it wired into. And I got out the old meter, and I'm like, this thing's, you know, I got the meter on the 100K scale, and I'm not reading any resistance. I said, that damn thing's open. You know, out of all the things happened. Then I quickly checked the other rheostat, because that one's a $50 one, and that one seems to be okay. But, you know, this thing has just been sticking it to me so many times. And the fact that when I flip it over, I have to be really careful because it's really heavy. And it's just an albatross. There's the word, albatross. And I really need a better hobby. Okay, something with some satisfaction once in a while, you know. And a lot of my problems is I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I bump into them. They recommend these fake restoration ones to me. You know, the guy finds a motor in the ocean that's been there for 50 years. He brings it out, he hoses it off with a regular hose, and then he has it start up. You know, the whole thing. I can't. You know, that's the problem. YouTube. A lot of the recommended videos now are anywhere from 30 to 40 seconds long. You know, the cat meows, the cat yawns, the cat jumps into her arms, the cat hits the dog in the head. They just, it's all about making money, okay? And like I told you the other day, the only one I got really enthused with was a guy making integrated circuits in his cellar, but he like had $100,000 worth of machinery, machines and test equipment. And then I seen another one in the news that they recommended to me. And then it's another guy, I don't know if it's the same guy, but he's using 1970 equipment. And they puff it all up, you know. And then there was a guy in the news that was doing experiments to help extract the water and hydrogen from the moon. And he's doing that in his garage. And I'm like, I've seen this stuff before. And one of the most annoying things that ever happened to me was, me and my father were sitting watching television, and they had a guy on there, and I ended up building a spinning drum fax machine years later. And this guy had a spinning drum fax machine that he made, and he was going to receive Mars photos through the air, but he didn't say from Mars or from the ARRL. What he did was NASA sent out faxes through the air or through the AARL, and this guy was able to pick up pictures of Mars. My father actually thought that he was receiving the satellite pictures. And I said to my father, do you realize how big that dish has to be? Oh, he must have worked away around it. I'm like, yeah, right. Yeah, right. And it's one of those moments when you realize your parents or your father and that aren't that smart. They don't realize the signal from Mars, how weak it is, that no radio amateur is going to be able to do it. And years later, I found all those articles, and I built a radio spinning drum fax machine. I used stepper motors. What a project! I should show you. Basically, I've seen the bullshit through my life of people, and the bullshit artists, they get the most press. Okay, and I think about the guy that really comes up with the idea, and then like Michael Jackson doing the moonwalk. That's the most iconic presentation, or whatever you want to call it, of the fact that he just did a little smoother action. He kept it going a little bit longer, but it was called backsliding. And a lot of people on the internet constantly find backsliding videos or old movies, and they put it on there and attack Michael Jackson. But he got so much press on that moonwalk and everything that he mentioned a couple of times that he got the idea from other people, but he basically owned what other people were doing. And then I got to see some television programs, black rock and roll station ones. I might have been the one with the train. Anyway, they had people that could actually do it constantly as a dance. And I saw that footage. But that's when you take credit for something that's really not yours, I consider you a scumbag. Okay? I'm pretty open when I say I watched the Shango video, and he got another bodged radio. And the guy changed all the capacitors except one of the ones that was bad. And I mentioned other people. I watch their videos. I see what they're up to, and they run into some of the same problems I'm having. And one of the things I saw yesterday or the day before, I was on eBay, and for $7.95, you can buy a volume control for a transistor radio, and he's got 3 different values. And if you look at the picture, it's scuzzed up. The volume control is black. All the parts that should be shiny brass are black. And I showed you one. I did video on one. They won't work right. They'll be scratchy. And then you can spray all you want to control and ruin it, when really the problem is on the back side of the volume control. I showed all that, but it's just been a big waste of my time. And like this project keeps me busy, but it's a big waste of my time. I think that's it. All right, I think that's it.